Hello guys, once again you are welcome to Communal Priority channel. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel for more videos and more solutions to your problem. Once again we are welcome to one of our tutorial video on composite of function or composite of function. First of all, if you say composite of function is a function that involves two different variables which we define them one after the other. We have 1 to 6 question, which question number 1 said we have a value f of x is equal to 2x minus 3 and g of x is equal to 3x minus 1. So we say find the following function. Number 1, f of g of 1. Number 2, g of f of 2. Number 3, f of g of, number 3, f of 2. Number 4, g of 3. Number 5, g of f of 4. Number 6, g of 2. So first of all, before you find your question of f of g, you have to find g of 1. And g of 1, we're going to substitute them in what? F of x, g of x. Whenever you see x, we are going to substitute it with 1. For example, question number 1, find f of g of 1. F of g of 1, first of all, we're going to calculate for what? G of 1. And we say g of 1 is equals to it's equals to g of x. And our g of x is equals to what? Our g of x is equal to, as we have it here, 3x minus 1. Therefore, since we say g of 1 is equals to g of x, then our g of 1 also will be equals to 3. Anywhere you see x now, we are substituting it with what? With 1. 3 multiplied by 1 close bracket minus 1. Because in g of x, we have x here, then in g of 1 we'll have also what? 1 here. Therefore, our g of 1 is equal to 3 times 1 is 3 minus 1. Now our g of 1 is equals to 2. So now after finding g of 1, which is equal to 2, we'll now find f of g of 1. So now, since we find our g of 1, which is equal to 2, so now we'll find our f of g of 1. Therefore, f of g of 1 now is equal to f of 2. Because we know our g of 1 is equal to 2, then now f of g of 1 will be equal to what? F of 2. And our f of 2 as well is equal to f of x. So now, since our f of 2 is equal to f of x and our f of x is equal to what? Our f of x is equal to 2x minus 3. So now our f of x is equal to 2x minus 3. So now we'll substitute our f of x with what? F of 2. Now our f of 2 will be equals to, anywhere we have x now, we are substituting it with what? With 2. Will be equals to 2 open bracket 2 minus 3. Since we said our g of 1 is equals to 2, our g of 1 is equal, our g of 1 is equal to 2, then our f of g of 1 will be f of what? Will be f of 2. Because g of 1 is already 2. Therefore, our f of g of 1 will be what? F of 2. Now our f of 2, we say is equal to f of x. We are substituting the value of f of 2 in what? In f of x. And our f of x is equal to 2x minus 3. Then our f of 2 will be 2. In place of this x, we are putting the 2 we have here, which is 2 times 2 minus 3 as we have in the equation. So therefore, now our f of 2 will be equal to what? Will be equal to 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 3, which is equals to what? Which is equals to 1. So now, we know our 2 is what? Our 2 is g of 1, as we said it here. Our g of 1 is the 2. Therefore, our f of g of 1 is equal to 1. Because with this f of 2, we know the 2 is the final answer of g of 1, as we have it here. This 2 is the final answer of g of 1. So therefore, now our f of g of 1 is equal to 1, because this g of 1 is already 2, as we said here. And we said our f of 2, that is f of g of 1, is equal to what? Is equal to 1. So now we are moving to the next question, which is what? Which is question number 2. Find g of f. G of f of what? Of 2. Now they say g of f of 2. Now first of all, we are going to find the f of 2. We say f of 2 is equal to what? F of x. And f of x is equal to what? Is equal to 2x minus 3. This is our f of x. So now, since we say our f of 2 is equal to f of x, now our f of 2 will be the equation we have in the f of x, but anywhere we have x here, we have x, we are going to substitute it with 2, as we have here. We substitute this x with what? We substitute this x with 2. So as well, in the equation, this will be 2 open bracket 2 close bracket minus 3. Now our f of 2 will be equals to what? Will be equals to 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 3, which our f of 2 is equal to 1. Since we found our f of 2 as 1, now we'll find the g of f of 2. Now the g of f of 2, since we say our f of 2 is 1, is going to be what? G of 1. Because this f of 2, we already knew it is 1. Then we are substituting this f of 2 with the final answer we have in this, which is what? Which is 1. Now we are finding g of 1. And the g of x, we know is equal to what? Is equal to 3x minus 1. And we say g of x is equal to g of 1. Right? Then now our g of 1 will be equals to 3 open bracket 1 close bracket minus 1. Because this one we substituted with what? With this x, as we substitute this x with this one in this g of 1. And we say g of x is equals to what? G of 1. So therefore, our g of 1 now will be equals to 3 times 1, which is 3 minus 1. And our g of 1 will be equals to 2. So therefore, now our g of f of 2 is equal to 2. Because this f of 2 is what we had here. We say our f of 2 is equals to 1. And this is f of 2. Therefore, since we know our f of 2 is equals to 1, then we will say this 1 will replace this f of 2, as we did here, which is g of 1 instead of what? G of f of 2. Now our g of 1, we say our final answer is 2. Therefore, since our g of 1 is 2, and we say this one is the same thing as we had in f of 2, then therefore now our g of f of 2 will be equals to final answer, which is what? Which is 2. So now we are moving to the next question, which is question number... We are moving to the next question, which is question number 3. We said find f of 2. So the same thing applies to this one as well. As we find the other one, f of 2, the same thing will use, the same method we'll use. First of all, we are going to find the f of 2 here. If we found this f of 2, the final answer we got at this f of 2, we will use it to find the f of 2. So first of all, now we know our f of x is equals to f of 2. Then now our f of 2 will be equals to, what is the value? What is the equation of f of x? We say is what? Is 2x minus 3. But since we have 2 here, this 2 will replace this x. Therefore, our f of 2 will be equals to 2 open bracket 2 minus 3, because this x we are replacing it with the 2 we have here. 2 times 2 is 4. Therefore, f of 2 is equal to 4 minus 3. Therefore, our f of 2 is equal to what? Is equal to 1. Now, our f of 2, we know our f of 2 is what? Our f of 2 we already knew is 1. Therefore, this will be f of 1. Because this f of 2 will got the final answer as 1. Therefore, f of 1 will be what? Is equals to 2x minus 3, as we have in the question here. So we say our f of 1 is equals to 2x minus 3. Now our f of 1 will be equals to, anywhere we have x, we are replacing it with what? With 1. Therefore, this we have 2 open bracket 1 close bracket minus 3. Therefore, f of 1 is equal to 2 times 1 is equals to what? 2 times 1 is 2 minus 3, which our f of 1 is equals to minus 1. So therefore, our f of 2 is equals to minus 1, because this one we got here is what? Is our f of 2, as we have it here, f of 2. Our f of 2 is equals to what? Our f of 2 is equals to 1. Now, instead of saying f of 2, we will say f of 2. Our f of 2 we say is what? Is 1. Therefore, we can simply say f of 1. Since this f of 2 is equal to 1, then we will put this f of 1. After substituting this 1 in our equation of f of x, we got our final answer as minus 1. Therefore, f of 2 is equal to minus 1. So now we are moving to the next question, which is question number 4, that says find g of 3. It's the same thing as we did for the previous one. First of all, we are going to find the g of 3. From the equation, we know our g of x is equal to what? G of 3. Right? Then our g of 3 will be equals to what? What is the equation of g of x? Is 3x minus 1, right? Then g of 3 will be equal to, anywhere we have this x now, we are replacing it with this 3. Will be 3 open bracket 3 close bracket minus 1, right? Then now our g of 3 will be equals to 3 times 3 is what? Is 9. 9 minus 1. Therefore, our g of 3 will be equals to 8. This is our g of 3. So, and they say we should find the g of 3. Since we know our g of 3 now is 8, we are substituting the 8 with this g of 3. Therefore, this will be f of 8. Since all this g3 is what? This g3 is already 8. Then therefore, since the g3 is 8, we are replacing this g3 with this 8. Instead of saying now g of g3, we will say g of 8 directly. So, but we still know that our g of x is equal to what? Is equals to 3x minus 1. And we say our g of x is equal to g of 8. Then therefore, this will be what? This will be g of 8 is equal to 3x minus 1. Now, anywhere we have this x, we are replacing it with this 8. Therefore, this will be g of 8 is equal to 3 open bracket 8 close bracket minus 1. Now, we are going to calculate 3 times 8. 3 times 8 we know is 24, because we are getting 8 like this to 3. If you add these two, 8 will give you 16, plus another 8 will give you 24. So therefore, g of 8 now is equals to 24 minus 1, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 23. So therefore, where we are going to substitute it in what? G of f of 4. First of all, we know our f of x is equals to what? Is equals to 2x minus 3, as we have in the equation. Therefore, our f of 4 will replace everywhere that we have x. This will be equals to 2 open bracket 4 close bracket minus 3. Right? 2 times 4 is 8. Therefore, f of 4 is equal to 8 minus 3. So now, we know 2 times 4 is what? Is 8. Therefore, this will be 8 minus 3. Therefore, our f of 4 now is equal to 8 minus 3 is what? 8 minus 3 is 5. So since we found our f of 4 is equal to 5, now we are going to substitute this 5 in place of f of 4, which is what? Instead of now of saying g of f of 4, it is going to be g of what? G of 5. Since we knew our f of 4 is equal to what? Is equal to 5. Now this will be g of 5. And our g of 5 is equal to what? F of g of x. So therefore, now our g of x we knew is what? Our g of x is 3x minus 1, as we have in the question. Therefore, our g of 5 will be equal to what? 3 multiplied by 5 minus 1. And our g of 5 now will be equal to 3 times 5 is 15 minus 1, which will give us what? Which will give us 14. So therefore, now our our g of f of 4 is equal to what? Is equal to 14. Because we said this f of 4 is equal to what? Is equal to 5. Therefore, instead of putting now g of 4, we'll put what? G of 5. Because this 5 is the same thing as what? As the f of 4. Now our g of 5, we say the final answer is what? Is 14. And the g of 5 is the same thing as g of f of 4. Therefore, our g of f of 4 is equal to 14. Now we are moving to the last question, which is question number 6. Question number 6 says g of g of 2, which is what? G of 2. First of all, we'll find our g of 2. When we obtain the final answer of g of 2, we'll substitute it in what? In g of 2. We know our g of x is equal to what? Our g of x is equal to 3x minus 1. Then therefore, our g of x is equal to g of what? Is equal to g of 2. Now our g of 2 will be equal to, anywhere we have x now, we are substituting with these 2. This will be 3 open bracket 2 close bracket minus 1. Now our g of 2 will be equal to 3 times 2 is 6, 6 minus 1. Therefore, our g of 2 is equal to 7. So now we are moving, 6 minus 1 is 5. It's 5. So now we are moving to the next one. Since we knew our g of 2 now is 5, we are moving to the next one, which is what? G of 2. Since our g of 2 is 5, we don't need to put this g of 2 anymore. We'll just substitute with this 5. Since our g of 2 is 5. Now our g of 5 is equals to what? Is equals to g of x. we're going to put this value of g of 5 in the equation of g of x. And we know the equation of g of x is what? G of x is equal to 3x minus 1. Now our g of 5 will be equal to, anywhere we have x, now we are putting our what? Our 5 will be 3 open bracket 5 close bracket minus 1. Right? So now our g of 5 will be equals to 3 times 5 is what? 3 times 5 is 15 minus 1, which is equal to what? G of 5 is equals to what? Is equals to 14. Since we know our g of 2 is equals to 5, when we substitute the 5 in the g of x again, we're going to get 14. So therefore, all the answers are what? Are the same in this case. So remember, we said our g of 2 is equals to 5. So we don't need to put any g of 2 again. Since the g of 2 is 5, we'll just put our g of 5 instead of g of 2. We put the g of 5 here, and the final answer is 14. So this is the final answer of this question that we did, which is question number 1, g of 1, question number 2, question number 1, f of g of 1, question number 2, g of f of 2, question number 3, f of 2, question number 4, g of 3, question number 5, g of f of 4, and question number 6, g of 2. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel for more videos. Thank you.